Well, hey everyone, how we doing out there today? This is the Flip Flop Investor Show, and I am your host, Todd Bayer, the Flip Flop Investor himself. For those of you that don't know, we get together every week and we talk about real estate investing here in the Inland Empire. And this week, usually what we do is we have a guest on that's going to come in here and spill their guts about all their secrets about how they do what they do in the business. But today, you get me. You get just me, and I'm going to be taking live calls. So here's the way it works. If you got a question about real estate investing, you call in, and the number to call in is 909-792-5222. And when you call this number, the gentleman will pick up the phone and welcome you to the to KCAA, and then he will put you through. And as long as you're the next caller in line, I will take your call. If it's about real estate investing, we can talk about it. It'll be fun. You can also text your questions. If you have a question, you can text it to 951-790-2197. Again, if you want to call in, that call-in number is 909-792-5222. And if you want to text a question, you can text it to 951-790-2197. So I had a couple questions to get started today. And these are some pretty common questions that people ask me. Number one, people want to know, and I guess I don't tell it enough, people want to know how I got started in real estate. And I got started actually working for my mom. She was a real estate appraiser. She retired last year, and she'd been doing it for quite a few years. I don't think she wants me to tell anybody how long she'd been doing it, but it was more than a few decades. So she'd been doing it a while, started out in Ventura County. Then when we moved to Riverside in 93, or Riverside County in 1993, she started doing it out here, focusing exclusively on Moreno Valley. And at that time, this was 2005, I was working out in Huntington Beach, going down the financial planner route, where I was trying to become a financial planner. And I wasn't great at it. I was like 22 years old, and I didn't really know how to talk to people who were going to be retiring soon, and I had no frame of reference to kind of get them to move towards these retirement plans we were trying to get them into. So I was having a hard time with it, and one day I called my mom just to see how she's doing, and she tells me that she's crazy busy, because if some of you out there remember, in 2005, real estate was on the crazy upswing out here, and we had all kinds of interesting loan products available. So there were a lot of people refinancing their homes at this time, and a lot of people were buying homes. A lot of people were buying homes that shouldn't have been buying homes, but nonetheless, whenever you buy a home, traditionally, you're going to have to get an appraisal if you're getting a standard mortgage. So the lender's going to require an appraisal to be done, and once you have the appraisal done, then you close your loan, assuming everything comes in at value, and you go from there. Well, my mom had a ton of these appraisal assignments coming in because of the way the market was going at that time, and she had some good contracts with some of the local banks in Moreno Valley, so she had a lot of them submitting appraisal assignments on a daily basis, and she tells me she's turning away like 7 appraisal assignments a week, which, is pretty good amount of volume there. So I asked her if there's anything I could do to maybe, increase her efficiency or something, and I knew nothing about real estate other than what I'd read about in like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And so she said, yeah, well, I've always wanted to bring on appraiser trainees and train them, because that's one thing she always wanted to do, was train other people to become an appraiser. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with how it works to become an appraiser, you first have to take your classes, then you take your test. Once you pass, you get your appraiser trainee license. Once you have an appraiser trainee license, you then have to work, and I believe it's 2,000 hours underneath a licensed appraiser in order to become a licensed full-on appraiser yourself, where you can work independently. So it's tough for these trainees after they've gotten their training license to be able to become an appraiser on their own. So they have a hard time finding an appraiser that's willing to train them. So we ended up interviewing a ton of people, and really we were looking for people that didn't need the income right away because it's not something you're going to make a ton of money at first. But then also somebody that was flexible with their schedule and things like that. So we brought on these appraisers and started doing appraisal work, and we were able to take on more assignments and started growing the business a bit. But that basically went for a good year and a half is when we finally got to the point where we're like, well, we want to try dipping our toe into real estate investing a little bit. My grandmother had passed away and left us a little bit of inheritance, and my mom said, this is money I'd like to invest in real estate. I've always wanted to invest, and we just never have. So we decided let's start looking into investing in property. So we found a house. Actually, we figured out the best method for us was going to be investing in trustees sale, because there's deals going to sale every single day on the trustees sale. This is where people have lost their home to foreclosure, and the bank is selling it publicly. And at this time, it was at the courthouse steps in Riverside. So I would go down there every single day, and you had to have cashier's checks in hand in order to buy these. You can't get a loan or anything like that. So we would bring all the cashier's checks with us, and bid on every single property that was up for sale that we wanted to buy. And for a good 3 months, I bid on properties every single day and never got one. I was always outbid by the big dogs that are out there at the trustees sale, and some of you I know pretty well now. But you guys would always outbid me. So I just got tenacious and kept going and going and going. And then eventually I pulled one of you guys aside and asked you, are you going to let me get one today? And he said, you know what? And I said, look, man, I just want to get one house, and that's it. I'm probably going to be gone for 6 months working on it before I even get back to here again to buy another one. So I'm no real competitor. So he says, all right, let's take a look at what you got. What are you going to bid on today? So I show him my list, and we compare notes. And he says, you know what? I wasn't really wanting to buy this one right here, but I have to place a bid. But my bid is way lower than your max. So go ahead. I won't bid on this one. I'll make my minimum bid, and then I won't bid after that, and nobody else is going to buy it. I already know. So I said, okay, well, let's try it. So we did, and we bid on it, and lo and behold, it worked out. Nobody else bid, and I ended up getting the property. So that was basically how I got my start. Was the first was buying it at a trustee sale, and that property we ended up having to go talk to the owner and. Or the former owner, I guess, because now that we had bought it at the trustee sale, it wasn't hers anymore. So we went down there and talked to the lady and said, I'm sure you were aware this was going to happen. Your house went to sale, and we were the high bidder. So we've now taken ownership of the house and want to help you, move on to your, the next situation you want to get into. So we offered her, what a lot of people in the business call cash for keys. This is where you offer money in exchange for them to move out of the property in a timely manner. So, and it's, meant to help out with moving costs and, making a first and last month's rent deposit or something like that. So, we offered cash for keys and, said, if you're out by this date, we'll give you this amount. And, they agreed. They said they'd be out, and we actually showed up that day, and we said, for every day you're not out, we're going to penalize you $100. So I don't know if they thought we were kidding or what, but we showed up the day they were supposed to be out, and they weren't out. And, so I said, well, when do you think you're going to be out? And they said, we'll definitely be out tomorrow. And I said, okay, I'll bring cash with me, and we'll make the trade there. So showed up the next day, they had everything out of the place, and they were ready to go. And so we exchanged the keys for the cash, and off we went. And that was pretty much the first time I'd ever dealt with a construction project on my own, too. So hiring subcontractors and dealing with all that mess was a bit of a headache. So, but I learned the hard way and finally got through it, and probably overspent quite a bit of money on that house, but we ended up selling that one in January of 2007. So that was actually the first exit I ever had. And then, I guess fortunately for me, I wasn't really good at finding deals at that time because I was brand new in the business. So I didn't really find any more deals to buy after that one sold. So I kind of got lucky and didn't end up losing houses in the downturn because I couldn't find any. So once property started going down, we started buying rental properties. And so before I go on to that question, I will just remind everybody that what we're doing today is a call-in show. So if you want to talk to me about something that's on your mind in real estate investing, you can call in. The number to call in here is 909-792-5222. Again, that number is 909-792-5222. You can also text a question, and that is 951-790-2197. So that's if you want to text. You can text a question to 951-790-2197. We got a question from the peanut gallery out here. We got one here. It says, how is the market for flipping now at this time? Well, the market's good right now for flipping, especially in the Inland Empire. If you're trying to buy houses out this way, you're still looking at buying houses less than you can get in the coastal counties. So a lot of people that have been flipping out in Orange County, LA County, San Diego, Ventura, they're starting to move inland because this is where the deals are now. And, out there they're starting to get lower yields on their or lower returns on their investments, so they can't buy them at the same pricing. Plus, we're really starting to see a lot of flattening out of pricing out in that way. So the prices are starting to come down, from based on where the house was listed originally to where it's now selling. It's they're all taking price drops at this point. So out here in the Inland Empire, we're not taking price drops just yet. We're especially in the affordable housing range. If you're trying to sell a luxury property out here, it might take you a little while. But if you're trying to sell an affordable home, and this is going to be something from the $300,000 to like $450,000 range, that's going to be a pretty quick escrow at this point. So flipping's still a good market, but I'm at this point kind of setting a date of when we can expect to see another recession, like housing bubble burst type thing out here, and I'm thinking probably sometime around the end of summer 2020. And that's assuming everything kind of keeps going the way it's going. What does that mean for me? Right now I am slowing down what I'm doing in single family. And that's, that means I'm not trying to buy as many. I'm only trying to buy the ones that are actually going to produce a good return. I'm not willing to take chances on any, and not willing to risk, the potential market upswing, as a means of generating profit. We're only buying the deals now that make absolute sense to us and are going to pay a decent return. So, got another question here. It says, where is the home market going, up or down, for buying and selling? Well, I guess I sort of touched on that a little bit, and it's going to go up for a little bit. We still get that nice thing that happens here in the Inland Empire. A lot of people that want to buy out in Orange County and LA County, they're realizing that they're priced out. So, that, and also there's low inventory. It's hard for them to actually get a house still. So they're starting to move inland. It happens every single cycle. We see it where these people now want to buy a home and they want land. They don't want to be able to touch their neighbor's hand outside their window. And they start coming out to the Inland Empire. And so we're seeing that already happening because, if you try to buy a regular 2-bedroom, 1-bath house in Los Angeles, you're going to be in the $700,000 price range. But out this way in the Inland Empire, there's certainly areas where you can get it for in the $300,000 still. So getting that same house for half the price is very attractive to a lot of people, when you want to save money, because, there's a lot of people that live here in the Inland Empire, but they work out in Orange and LA counties, and, the wages don't change just because you live in LA County. You get paid the same that everybody else does, except you're bringing your money this way. So, yeah, that's that question. And just a reminder, in case anybody doesn't know, we are taking your calls live on the air today. So don't be shy. Just call in and give me your questions about the real estate investing. If you want, the number to call in is 909-792-5222. You can call at you can call 909-792-5222, or you can text at 951-790-2197. Again, the text-in number is 951-790-2197. Okay, so other questions that I get frequently from people are other things like people ask me, where do you find your deals? And this is a big common question. It's the biggest question most people have when they're in real estate investing, and because without deals, you got nothing in this business. So where do I get my deals? And I don't actually directly market for any of them. All my deals come in through referrals at this point. But where did I get started? I talked about it earlier. It was in the trustee sale world. That's where I found my first deal. But I only bought one deal that way. Every other deal I've gotten since then has been more or less through a realtor or a wholesaler. So, I meet lots of realtors, and a lot of them know that I'm a real estate investor. So when I meet a real estate agent, I explain to them what I do, and if they want, they can find deals for me, and once they do, they can send them my way. And if we buy them, great. And if we don't, then whatever. And I basically get my deals through the agents and through the wholesalers, and they there's a lot that goes behind that question. It's a pretty big question, but yeah, that's a pretty common question that I get, is how I find the deals. Another question I got here from the studio audience here, we have, how or where do I go if I want to get involved in real estate investing, flipping, etc., and who do I talk to? Well, that's an easy question. Because where you want to go, and I'm sure I'm being set up for this, but where you want to go is the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. For those of you who've never been, the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club is the largest real estate investment club here in the Inland Empire. In fact, it's the second largest in Southern California now, where we have every month a big monthly meeting where we have a bunch of investors in the room, and we just kind of commiserate. We all talk about what's going on in our lives, and network together. It doesn't sound that exciting, but if you want to find the right people to work with, they're all there. All the big players that I know that aren't some institution are there in that room every single month, and they basically get together, talk about real estate investing, and we all have a good time. So that's every fourth Wednesday. So this month, that's actually going to be next week on Wednesday, and that is the 22nd of August. So that would be the 22nd. It starts at 6 p.m. We're at the Mission Inn in Riverside. So come on down. You can find more information on the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club on meetup.com. So go to meetup.com and look up Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. You'll find us. We have over 4,000 members on there now. We just crossed over the 4,000 barrier this month. Pretty exciting. We also do two other meetings. One other meeting. I'm sorry. We do two other meetings each month. We do three altogether right now. We're going to be adding another one here pretty soon. But on the first Wednesday of the month, we do what's called a cash flow game, where at the Roundtable Pizza in Highland, we play a board game called Cash Flow. This is a board game created by Robert Kiyosaki, and it's very similar to Monopoly. So anybody that's ever played Monopoly, it's pretty basic. This one you kind of actually play like you're a real estate investor, where you have an occupation. Say you're an airline pilot or a doctor or a janitor or a teacher. They have all these different occupations that you can be, and you get a certain salary based upon those and that occupation. And then you also, with the occupation, you have a certain salary, and then you have certain obligations. So you might have kids, you might have school costs, bills, things like that you have to pay each month. So, and then you have to figure out how you're going to invest in real estate. You get presented with deals throughout the game, and you have to negotiate with other players. It's a lot of fun. We have a good time with that one. Starting in September, we are charging $10 for that because we do provide pizza and soft drinks and water and such. So that'll be $10 starting in September. And that next one is going to be on September 5th. So, yeah, if you're going to be, looking for something to do, September 5th is the day to be at the Highland, the Highland Roundtable Pizza. So you can play cash flow with us. And we get a pretty good turnout there. That's hosted by another one of our hosts. His name is Caesar Roldan. And Caesar's been a guest on the show before. So then the other meeting we do every month, we do a Saturday morning coffee. This is it's always hosted the Saturday before the main monthly meeting. So since the monthly meeting is on the 22nd this month, then we are going to be doing the Saturday morning coffee in a couple of days on the 18th. So we do that at 8 o'clock in the morning at Arcade Coffee Roasters in Riverside off of Chicago and University. Again, you can find all the information for this on meetup.com. The coffee event is just a basic networking event. You get together with people who can't always make it to the midweek, to the Wednesday meeting, because some people have to work Wednesday evenings. I know we get a lot of people that work in healthcare that come on the weekends because they can't come because they're working a 24-hour shift or something on that Wednesday. So yeah, come on down to the Saturday morning coffee this Saturday. You can meet me and a couple of the other characters that we have inside the club. And yeah, we're also beginning in September on that one. We'll be charging, at least tentatively, we're going to be charging $10 for that one. Currently, it's free to get in. So you don't have to pay if you go in this weekend, but possibly next month we'll be charging $10 a month because we are launching a new membership element to the club, which we're going to announce at the main monthly meeting this month. But I guess you guys are getting it early. You're hearing the information now. So we're going to have a new membership element to the club where members are going to be able to have access to certain benefits within the club and access to the other members of the club through a member directory. These are things we've been asked for in the past, but we've been told by a lot of people they don't want to get spammed, so we've been kind of talked out of it. But we found that doing it through this membership way would be a good way to do it. Plus, we need people's support. The club isn't meant to make money for us. It's just meant to be able to support itself. And, we have food and drinks at these events, so those things cost money. The venues cost money. We're not trying to, get rich on this thing. But, yeah, the basic monthly membership is going to be $19 a month, which is actually $11 cheaper than it currently costs to attend the main monthly meeting. And that'll get you into all three, the cash flow, the coffee, and the main monthly meeting. That'll get you in for all three of those for only $19. Or you could pay individually $10, $10, and $30 for the main meeting if you want to go that route. But we figure a lot of people are going to go that way. And what we're hoping is that it's going to be sort of like where people treat it like a gym membership and they don't always go. We're hoping that the people that don't always go are just there kind of supporting their club in their absence, to let other people get into the meeting for a discounted price. Yeah, so that's going to start. We're going to mention it first time at the club on next Wednesday, the 22nd. So come on out to the Mission Inn to check us out there. Go to meetup.com to look up more information on the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. And for those of you that are just now tuning in, we are doing a live call-in show. We had a caller a few moments ago, but looks like they got cold feet, so we didn't want that call, I guess. But the way you call in is you just dial the number. Call in to 909-792-5222. Again, that's 909-792-5222. I will answer your question about investing in real estate live on the air. And if you want to text your question, you can do that too. All you have to do is dial 95 or text your question to 951. And why can't I find this number? I just had it written down. There it is. 951-790-2197. Again, you can text your question to 951-790-2197, and I will answer your question live on the air. It'll be a lot of fun for you, and it'll be a lot of fun for me, because talking to myself isn't as exciting, believe me. So yeah, call in, 909-792-5222, or text your question to 951-790-2197. So let's move on to some more questions that I get a lot. We did kind of go over some economics. Went over some basics about how I got into the business. But a lot of people like to ask me other things like, how do I even contact a realtor? Like, how do you find these people? There are realtors that are all over the place, and you can, if you still have a Yellow Pages, you can take that and call the Yellow Pages and call the agents in there, or you can go on to the internet, obviously, and look up, realtors in your area. Look up your zip code, look up wherever you're trying to find deals, look up realtors and give them a call. There's no limit on how many realtors you can call to talk about real estate with, so call as many as you want. Call as many as you're capable of handling in a day. So that's a lot of fun. We did get a call, so we should probably switch over to line one and take this call. Let's switch on over. Hello, you're on the air.
Yeah, hi Todd. How are you doing?
Doing good. How are you? What's your name and where are you calling
Good.
from?
This is Judy.
Oh, Judy. Very nice talking to you.
Yeah.
Where are you calling from?
And I'm calling from Anaheim area.
Anaheim, okay, a little ways out. Didn't know we went that far. You must be listening on the internet at kcaaradio.com.
Yes, I am. And I have 3 big questions to ask you.
3 questions, all right.
Yes. We're first time out looking for to buy a house because we're in a small apartment at this time. And we want to come into the Inland Empire area. We have no children yet, but we have 2 Great Danes, big dogs.
Okay.
And looking for the first time out, the budget's around $350, $375. What are the 3 biggest things that a new person looking for a new house, what are the 3 things that they should look for?
3 big things for a person to look for that has 2 Great Danes and lives in, they're in an apartment right now and they're looking to move into a house. So,
yes.
Okay, so what are we trying to decide for these people? Okay, so this person would need to first make sure they're pre-qualified for the house that they're trying to buy. So I'd first work with a real estate lender, a lender out this way that understands what you're trying to buy, and they can pre-qualify you, because when you submit your offer to go purchase a home, you're going to need a pre-qualification letter from a lender. And most people are going to want to see some kind of underwriting approval to go along with that, because, you know, sellers can be a little choosy at this point. There's a lot of buyers still out this way, so have your pre-qualification ready to go. Next, you know, make sure you're ordering a home inspection report and going through that thing very thoroughly. When a person's selling their home to you, you have this option to inspect the home, and when you do that, inspect the home and read through that inspection report. There's going to be all kinds of things they're going to call out in there. Plus, you should walk the property yourself and look for things that weren't called out in the inspection report, because you need to fix those things. So when you fill out your request for repairs, when you're going to purchase, you need to put down every single thing you want repaired. We've seen some lists that come through to us that are pretty lengthy. Sometimes people put in strange requests. People ask us to put in a pool, stuff like that, and you know, we can kindly decline those things, which we usually do. But if there's things like, you know, the light switch doesn't work in the garage or something, it might have been over, you know, something we didn't catch. So if you guys catch it, yeah, definitely put that on there. But make sure you include everything, because if you miss some stuff, that might be your last chance to have the former seller take care of those expenses for you before you move in. And I guess lastly, third thing that you should be looking out for, or third thing you should be prepared with when you're moving in, that's a good question. I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head that you should be prepared for.
Well, then let me ask you this question. When you do the walkthrough for the inspection, and then you do another one by yourself or your partner who's ever with you, instead of just writing them down, should they take photographs of what they found?
It would help. You know, if you tell me the light switch at the room in the middle of the hall, I may not know exactly which one you're talking about. So photos help. Usually when you get an inspection report, there's going to be photos to go along with every correction they call out in there. So whenever we get an inspection report, there's usually a bunch of redlined items on the inspection report that say, you know, the light switch doesn't work in the second bedroom, you know, and they'll have a picture of it. And that way you can kind of say, okay, this is the one they're talking about. Yeah, so pictures do help.
Okay, and then the other thing about the inspection, to me, the 4 things that came to my mind immediately. One is the septic tanks that they have to make sure everything is flowing like it should. Check all the wiring through the whole house, inside or outside, like on your patio or your front porch or whatever. The other thing that I thought about is when you walk through, the way I think about it, turn on the faucets in the sinks, turn the water on in the bathtubs or the showers.
That's absolutely right.
If there's, you know, any kind of leaks or anything going on, right? And then also if they have an attic or a cellar, if you could get in there and double check everything.
Sure, yeah, and the inspector that we hire anyway, if there's a crawl space or an attic or anything like that, they go up in those attics, they go down in those crawl spaces, which is something most homeowners probably don't really want to do. You don't usually bring your your hazard suit with you to to crawl under these things. There's a lot of spiders and whatnot underneath these homes and in the attics. So, unless you really enjoy the company of insects like that, then yeah, leave it up to the professionals. But yeah, they will. They'll go under and they'll check the all the joists under the house, to make sure that there's no structural integrity issues and things like that. They'll go up in the attic, check all your trusses and your insulation up there. They'll check all that stuff to make sure it's all compliant with modern building codes. And you mentioned the septic. Septic tank is a big one. These are things that often get forgotten about by a lot of people. And you can call out a septic tank company before you list your property, and they can give you a certification on it. That's something we do on every single house that we have that has a septic tank, because you're going to be one or the other, either septic or sewer. If you're on sewer, you're lucky, because that means you don't really have much to worry about. But if you're on septic, then you're going to have to get that thing certified. So,
all right.
Yeah.
And then I have one more question.
Sure.
All right.
All right.
Now, you walk in and you see carpeting in every room.
Okay.
Except the kitchen. Hopefully there's not carpeting in your kitchen.
It's an odd place for carpet, yeah.
Yes. And if you wanted that carpeting removed and put it back to the wood floors or the tile that that people have, can you put that in the request to the homeowner to do it, or is it easier for the new people coming in to do it themselves?
It wouldn't be a typical thing you'd call out on an inspection, on a request for repairs, but there's no reason why you can't, because the seller ultimately decides if they're going to do it or not. And if you say, if you do this, I'm buying for sure. If you don't do it, I'm walking. I mean, you can use that as a negotiation tactic and, get the seller to possibly do some things that you'd like. You want to be specific with a request like that. Like, I want to take up this carpet and put in this specific type of flooring or whatever you want to do. So I'd be very specific with what you want. But yeah, the seller's under no obligation to humor any of your requests. They can say no to all of them, and it's up to you to decide if you want to still go through with it. You can always renegotiate your price at this point too. We get stuff like that when we go to sell properties all the time.
I was wondering about that. And then the other thing that just crossed my mind, another good thing for people if they're going into a new area or a new town or city, whatever you want to call it, even before you start looking at the houses, drive through all the areas, see like the schools and the playgrounds and so on and so on and so on. Now, that would be another very good idea for somebody to take that time before they fall in love with a house and then hate the town, right?
Right, yeah. Definitely go there during the times you expect to be there. Go there on the weekends to see what the street looks like. Maybe even go there one evening just to kind of hang out for a half hour or something to kind of see what the neighborhood's like at night. Make sure that your new neighbor isn't going to be the neighborhood party animal that's going to be the one, throwing all their parties with the DJ every single night. Because, you've definitely heard these horror stories. And you can ask the seller. Sometimes they will be honest with you about this stuff. Like, what's the neighborhood really like at night? Do you have any neighbors that are problems? And, of course, when you first move in, you should probably get to know your neighbors so you can, tell them like, hey, if you ever have a problem with me making too much noise, here's my phone number, and do the same, exchange those numbers so you can say, I don't want to call the cops on you, but if it's Tuesday night and I'm trying to sleep and you guys are having some big party, expect to hear from me before I call in. And if
they'll probably call in because they got upset because they weren't invited to the party.
Yeah, it's probably true.
Right?
It's the only nice thing you can do, right? Invite your neighbors to your parties.
That's true. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
you told me quite a lot of good information.
Well, thank you for calling in. I appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully we'll hear from you again sometime soon.
Okay, thank you.
Take care. All right. We also got while we were on the phone there, we got a text question that came in. So I had somebody text me about 7 minutes ago. I have about $50,000 to $75,000 cash to invest in real estate. What would be the best way to start? Rental property, land, house flip? That's a tough question to answer because there's a lot of ways you can invest in real estate, and $50,000 to $70,000 is a pretty good start. So, you can invest in flips. You'd probably want to get a hard money lender to help lend you the rest of the money that you're going to need to finish that property. Because let's say you're going to purchase the property for $100,000, you need to put $30,000 into it to renovate it. you need 130 plus some closing costs plus, some padding in there. So, you might want to have about 150 total. So if you have 70, that goes a long way, and a lender's going to be able to lend you some money. So I would find some hard money lenders out this way. There are a couple really good ones out this way. You might want to call Rehab Loan Group. They're a really good company that definitely knows what they're doing out this way. You can talk to Ryan Raven out there. Or you could call up. There's other ones, as well. I can't think of anybody to call off the top of my head because, they're available online. Look up hard money lenders in whatever area you're trying to find. Flipping's a good way to do it. Like I said, we still do have a good year or so to make money in flipping in Southern California, Inland Empire. But then doing rentals is a good thing to do too. I mean, if you can find them, that's going to be the hard thing to do out here in the Inland Empire right now is if you're trying to find a good rental that produces a good return month over month, you're going to have to go someplace, a little further away. Like we're talking some of the further reaches of the high desert. You have to go out towards Desert Hot Springs, 29 Palms, Joshua Tree, or go even further out towards Blythe. You can find some good rental property out that way that'll produce a decent return. But, your returns that you want to earn on a rental that's your choice. I can't tell you what you should make on a rental, but, for me, I kind of want to make at least 10% on my money. So if I'm going to do a rental out that way, I'd like to do at least a 10% return per year, and that's net. When I'm talking about a rental property, you want to take your annualized cap rate, which for me would be a 10% return, and I'd like to, pay all my expenses each month, like my maintenance, any repairs and expenses, and then I'd have to also include my maintenance, my utilities, things like that. I want to include that in that cost ratio, which I usually work out to be about 35% on a single family house. And it depends on what you're paying for utilities. Obviously, there's changes from property to property, but yeah, I like to net out about a 10% return on a rental. They're out there. There's not a lot of them right now because pricing is high. So when prices are high and rents haven't gone up at the same proportion that pricing has, it's going to change your outcome. So another thing people do with money like that, sometimes they find an operator and they partner up with them. Maybe I know a guy that's got, another $70,000. You got $70,000. He knows what to do. He can go find these properties, no problem. I can find these properties or whatever. And we got the money. We just put it together, form a little partnership. You can form it there's all kinds of ways to form it, really. You can do it as a partnership, trust, LLC, corporation, however you really want to structure it. Obviously, talk to your legal professional before going down that road. You want to make sure you have your contracts in place there because partnerships have been known to go haywire in the past. So yeah, you can partner up with somebody and find a deal, do it all kinds of different ways. You could even get into a larger pool of people. Say you find 10 people that have, $70,000 sitting around. You can get all of them to put their money together and go buy some kind of big commercial property or something along those lines. It's always a good way to do it. Find somebody again that is a good operator, and you can find these partners, these types of people to work with at the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. So if you're not currently attending the club, come on down to the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club and meet some of these people to partner up with. It's a great place to go to meet the people that have the deals because, if you have money, it means you don't have to invest the time. So it's a good way to, get into real estate investing quickly if you have cash. So, yeah, I definitely recommend that. All right, so that was it for the text question, I think. And I think I covered it. If I didn't, you can always text in another one. But I got another question. What do we got?
Hi, I'm your board op, Nick. I'm a longtime listener, first-time caller.
Thanks, Nick. Good to talk to you on the air for once.
Right? I finally have the opportunity.
Awesome.
So this isn't really necessarily about, I guess it's about investing in a sense. But my situation is I'm 33 years old. I'm married. Mm-hmm. We currently rent an apartment. And I don't know if we necessarily make the amount of money to move into a house yet, but that's obviously a goal of ours eventually. Mm-hmm. That's why we haven't gotten kids yet.
Okay.
We want to get it. We don't want to raise a child in a small apartment that's made for literally just 2 people.
I hear you.
So my question is, since I'm completely ignorant to that whole world, I largely lived in apartments my entire life. What is probably, in your opinion, the bare minimum to make annually in order to afford a house?
Oh, okay.
And it doesn't even have to be a big house. It just
a house. Yeah.
Just a house, exactly.
Now, are you thinking like a 2-bedroom house at least?
Yeah, probably about
2, maybe 3-bedroom.
We'll start with 2.
Do you know like what area you might want to live in?
We sure like it here in Redlands.
Well, yeah, everybody loves it here in Redlands.
It's true.
Yeah.
Not nowhere, not San Bernardino, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I have no offense.
Okay. Yeah, so, if you want to move to Redlands, that's going to be a little bit more expensive, obviously, than moving to some of the surrounding areas, Yucaipa, Cherry Valley.
Oh, Yucaipa's not bad either, actually.
Yeah, Yucaipa's a good area. It's definitely coming up. I know some good people that live out in Yucaipa. Some people that might have even submitted some questions today. But yeah, the surrounding areas are going to find better deals. And really, when it comes down to buying a house, it's all about what you can afford. And, most people would probably say that you shouldn't spend more than like a third of what you make per month. So I don't want to hazard to guess what you make per month unless you're really comfortable sharing that on the air. But
I'm not good at math.
Yeah, exactly. So let's assume, the average income currently in, the Inland Empire is something like, I think, $56,000 or something like that is the current average household income. So if we took $56,000 and divided that by, multiplied by a third, 56,000 times 1/3, and I messed up, pressed the wrong button, times a third, 56,000 works out to be 18,666 divided by 12. Monthly payment of $1,555. So let's put that in our financial calculator here. And then we're going to assume you get an interest rate right now of like 4.5%, making that kind of a payment. So that affords you a $307,000 loan, which can be done. In the Inland Empire, you can take advantage of some of these loan programs that allow you to put down as little as like 3% on a purchase. And so 3% on a purchase would mean you buy something around, $320,000, somewhere around there. And so, you could purchase a home for $320,000, get a loan for $307,000 or whatever that works out to be, and your payment would be about $1,555. So, assuming your annual take home, between you and your wife is $56,000. That's
around there.
So that's the median income in the Inland Empire. Then you're going to be, and don't quote me on that being the median income, by the way. I didn't look at that number today, so it's probably close to that. But yeah, so that would be that's about the house you could afford, about $307,000 loan. So the more you have to put down actually can help, bring the payment down. And I don't know what you pay in rent each month, but it's possible that might even be somewhere around what you're paying in rent already.
It's a little bit more. We think we pay about, all told, about close to about $1,000 a month, which is actually pretty good for this area.
That's great, yeah. You live in Redlands?
We live in Redlands, yeah, and we live in a good neighborhood too.
My gosh.
We were able to find that little diamond in the rough where, when we saw the rent for all the surrounding areas, and then saw that, it didn't take long for us to make our decision.
Yeah, it makes me want to find out where you live and make an offer to that owner, because he's clearly not making enough on that building.
Yeah, right?
Sorry, I'd have to kick you out. No, I'm just kidding. No, I wouldn't do that to you, Nick. But so that's it's pretty good. That's actually a decent little house. But yeah, that would be more. So you got to have to supplement your income somehow, or hit the boss up for a raise. What you could do, you could always drive Uber. Some people do that these days. They drive Uber at night.
Hustle.
Little side hustle, yeah. Some people Airbnb out there, like you can Airbnb a room in your apartment or something. If your apartment owner's okay with that. But,
right.
Yeah.
So you're basically saying because we do make around that much annually. So you're saying with that we have a shot, we have a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, and you'd go with like a first-time homebuyer program, through FHA, and that'll give you you can have a lower down payment, like 3%. Traditionally, a mortgage down payment would be like 20%. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have that kind of savings, you obviously get better rates, with 20%. Plus, you don't have to pay mortgage insurance.
Right.
There's some extra costs that come with that $1,500 a month. You're gonna have to also pay property taxes, and you have to also include homeowners insurance in that price. Plus, and if you're doing one of these homeowner assistance programs, you're going to have mortgage insurance that you have to pay each month too. So all those premiums get worked out, and then in order to get a direct, exact quote on what you'd actually be paying per month, you have to talk to a lender, because I don't do regular homeowner loans. So
Right.
I'm actually I'm not an expert in that field. I'm probably even misquoting some of the new homeowner programs, but
I'll take it as a ballpark.
yeah, it's a ballpark. Purchase a home for about $320. You can find them. There's a lot of them out in San Bernardino, but you already said you don't want to live there, so
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's nice areas in San Bernardino.
there are.
Yeah.
There are some nice. Actually, we got a house in one of the nice areas out there that we're flipping right now. So
I know the areas in the base of the mountain are actually pretty nice.
yeah, and yeah, it's like when you get up towards like the Cal State, San Bernardino, there's some nice areas up there too.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't mind living in that area.
they're not too bad.
No.
Commute wise, just everybody's going south in the morning and north in the evening. So
Right.
that's where your traffic's going to be.
Well, that actually wouldn't be a bad route to go now that I think about it, because my wife actually works up in the mountains.
Oh, perfect.
So that would actually work out a little bit better.
Yeah, might be a little bit closer.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
But-
thanks, Nick.
And thank you.
Yeah, anytime. Maybe if we got some time, we'll throw another one. We did get another question in, so we'll have to take this one. Let's see. It says, to help pay for the house rent, a room average here is $500 per month. So $1,500 could be $1,000 for the house. Is that a statement? I'm guessing that's a statement. So to help pay for the house rent a room, average here is $500. Okay, so what they're saying is you can get $500 for a room average out this way. So if you have an extra room, $1,500 would actually have to be $1,000 a month is what you'd be paying. So, yeah, very good point. So yeah, if you had another room to rent out, if you say bought a 3-bedroom home, rather Nick, instead of buying a 2-bedroom, buy a 3-bedroom and rent the other room out. Again, using something like an Airbnb or even just rent it out to a college student. Another advantage of living near the college is that you have kids that want to live nearby.
That's a good point.
So $500 a month, and hopefully their mom and dad are paying that, so they're good for it.
Right.
I know a lot of people do that out by UCR too, where they rent out a room or a few rooms or an entire house room by room. So, it's a good way to actually increase your rents on a house that you already own.
That's another thing to consider. That's another thing to think about.
Yeah. So, and then once you have the kid, then you can
Kick them out.
and move the kid into that room.
Except I'm not going to charge the kid $500 a month.
You should,
It's
You gotta
true.
get them working right away.
Yeah.
They'll be cute. I know they will be, because you're a good-looking guy. So,
Well.
the kid's gonna be cute. So I'm sure they can model and bring in some of that supplemental income. And do some acting, commercial
Get
work.
them started young.
Yeah, get them into the radio. It's a
Oh,
good
there
way
you
to.
go.
That's a great way to get into the entertainment business. Is start in the radio first. I'm just launching my career in the entertainment industry
There you
right
go.
here. Yeah. So cool. Yeah. All right. So we don't have a whole lot of time. We only got a few minutes left. But if anybody has any last minute questions, they just have to get in and ask me. You can call in here to the radio station here at 909-792-5222, or you can text a question to 951-790-2197. Again, you can call in to 909-792-5222, or you can text a question to 951-790-2197. And we just got the 5-minute warning here, so we got to talk about something for 5 minutes. Let's talk about some other questions that I get frequently. Nope, that wasn't a question coming in. I was looking at my phone. Another thing I get asked about a lot. Let's see. What else do people ask me? I had all these questions written down, but I left the paper at my office like an idiot. So, yeah. Other questions people ask me a lot would be, where do I get the money to do the deals? So I kind of touched on a little bit earlier with the gentleman that texted in. I'm assuming it's a gentleman. I shouldn't do that, but I touched on a little bit earlier when they said they had 50 to 70,000, because that's obviously not enough to buy a house out here anyway. You can buy some stuff out in the Midwest possibly for that kind of price, but out here, if you're going to be purchasing a house, you're going to need a good couple $100,000 probably total in order to do it. At least 150, I would say, to get into a flip or something. And I mentioned hard money lenders. That's a way a lot of people use it. If you got some money, you find a hard money lender that can fill in the majority gap of what you need to do the property, to do the deal. And they're a good resource to work with because a hard money lender is going to review that deal very thoroughly. They're not going to let you get into a deal that's going to cost you money. They're not going to let you lose money because they don't want to be involved in a deal that's going to cost and lose them money. So hard money lenders are a very good resource for that. Also, there are a lot of people out there that have money but no time. We know a lot of investors that, they have retirement accounts, things that they've been building up over years, and they want to invest in real estate, but they don't have any time to find deals. So they just talk to us and we say, hey, we've got lots of deals. Let's partner up on a deal. Or sometimes they lend money to us, or we have a securities exemption, so we have a way of doing this. And I'm definitely not by any means trying to sell securities on the radio because that would be terrible. You're not allowed to do that. So, check with your financial advisors and everybody before you invest in anybody's real estate deals. But that's one way to do it, is to partner up, use other people's money. Because if you have time, somebody else has money, that's a good partnership. It's one of the best partnerships that exists in this business because, there's lots of money out there and there's lots of deals out there. So you just have to be able to marry the two together. And being creative is how you make things happen in this world, at least as an entrepreneur. So, that's another way to do it, is just partner up with somebody, find somebody with money. There's other ways to do it. If you have really good credit and a pretty decent job, you can borrow money, get a line of credit from a bank. There's a not very popular idea, which is to take out an equity line on your home, and borrow money that way to invest. I don't think it's a great idea because you're putting your personal residence at risk, but if you're comfortable with that risk, it's something that a lot of people do. Some people also will borrow against their retirement accounts. So let's say you have a pension with the company you work for or a 401k. Oftentimes you can contact them and set up a margin account with your retirement company, and you can usually borrow a percentage of what you have currently invested. And it depends on what you have invested and how it's invested, but at the minimum you should be able to borrow about 50% of what your portfolio value is. So some people do that. We've actually done deals that way within my family. So there's a lot of different ways to do it, but definitely the best way is to come to the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. Again, I can't say it enough because I'm the co-founder, but also because it really is a great resource. We've met a ton of people there ourselves that we now do business with and do deals with and partner up with. So come on down. We have the big monthly meeting coming up next week, Wednesday, the 22nd of August. We do it every month, the fourth Wednesday of the month. That's not the last Wednesday of the month. It's always the fourth. This month there happens to be 5 Wednesdays in the month. So we're doing it on the fourth Wednesday. That's the 22nd. We'll do that at 6 p.m. at the Mission Inn. The cost is $30 because we do feed you and we do have some beverages there available. And also we have the cash flow game on the first Wednesday of the month, and we have the Saturday morning coffee coming up this Saturday at Arcade Coffee Roasters in Riverside. So come check that out as well. We'll be there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and that goes until about 10 or 11 o'clock or until people decide they don't want to be there anymore. So bring your business cards. Come on down. Go to meetup.com. Check us out, the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. And thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you all again next week. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon. Take care.